Well, they gave Peter a wee bit of time to get in, David.
Anyway.
Of course, I'll need to remember to share this to Facebook when it's finished.
Yeah.
Because, folks, I need a bloody teenager to fix a bloody app on my phone. Simple as that. I can't navigate the bloody thing to change my password without having to say I forgot my password, so I can't get faking, so I'll get a teenager to navigate the app on my phone when I'm still logged into Facebook, get them to change the password within Facebook, and then I'll be able to log out of Facebook, log back into Facebook on my phone, and then log out of Facebook and back into Facebook on my bloody computer, Because at this point in time, we're only going to own YouTube, David.
Afternoon, people.
Good afternoon. And the other thing, folks, is I had a conversation with the Star Project there in Renfrewshire. As you know, I'm doing Inverclyde for the charity this month, David. And I spoke to a nice lady there. And I then went into the bank this afternoon and transferred £250.
We tried to get them before, and they're very, very difficult to get a hold of. They really are.
Well, she phoned me this morning. I left them a message yesterday. Inverclyde is a hard place to find independence anyway, because the Trussell Trust has got Inverclyde sewn up, David.
Yeah.
So...
Thanks for the nice mentions, guys. I'll do my best.
Thanks, guys. We got the money in for YouTube this month, and thanks to your generosity, the amount we received into the Two Davies account, whether it be for YouTube or for donations for you guys, this month was £1,300. Thank you very much.
So, wow.
And I'm working, as I say, it's after the 26th, so I'm on the job of getting it out the door. Okie dokie.
Yep.
So we'll be sticking to the regime of 3 food banks in each area around the country as we go round. And then anything that builds up at sex, at Christmas and things like that, that'll go, every last penny to baby banks. Okay. So what are we at? 99. One more we'll get this thing underway, David.
Yep. Okay. There we go.
So you guys are awesome. Thank you. Oh, and folks, there will be an after chat tonight. All right. And that's us up our the 100 mark, David. So let's get this thing underway.
Okay, fine.
Right, Rachel Reeves is in Scotland, and she has a meeting with the First Minister John Swinney. John tries to tell her not to go down the road of austerity, which is what they're going to do, and to invest in public services, because investing in public services is how you grow the bloody economy. And John, of course, is right. Thanks very much, Stephen.
Thanks very much, Stephen.
And John's right, of course, as you and I, David, we've spoken about it in many, and all the economists say the same bloody thing. If you want to grow the economy, invest in public services, invest in infrastructure. They just don't fucking listen. They just cut.
It's going to get. It's a bite. It's a bite that is set up for the television of John Swinney trying to be the elder statesman, which he's not. He's as far as I'm concerned, he is an idiot. He's the wrong person to be in charge of the SNP at the moment, right? And he's doing as little as he possibly can in order to deal with Rachel Reeves. What he should be doing to actually deal with Rachel Reeves is put together an amazing campaign for the 2026 election. That will stop Labour in their tracks.
Well, to be fair, he's a mid-term politician, as I say. He's not the bloody election. But what he does need to do,
he's not the man that should be sat in that position.
Well, anyway.
Woman.
Thanks very much for the super chat. Dodger. Aye, give me a coffee, please. And then another one in. For John, the truck driver. Truck driving legend. Still a driving god. I tell you, John, until I give you your high-vis vest, you're still a pup. Afternoon of two legends. Weather in Dunfermline is blue skies and cloudy. If you want to know the weather in Salisbury, look at Davies one day. You'll be getting a job. You'll be broadcasting for a truck shortly, John. Maybe get you on board as a roving reporter. You can give us a weather forecast for wherever you are that day.
Right. Back to the buzz.
Back to business. That brings us on.
What we're actually saying is that if we can manage to put together an amazing campaign over the next 18 months, that's all it is, 18 months, then that means that we can stop Labour and their nonsense in their tracks.
Well,
because Labour will not want to lose Scotland. They'll do anything to keep a hold of Scotland. Yeah, we know that. We know that from past.
That's
you
not
can
just
see it
Labour,
was happening.
that's Westminster. It's not even English people. That's Westminster.
Yeah.
They've made their country for 300 years, and now they can't afford to lose their cash cow.
Correct. Absolutely.
When we talk about Rachel Reeves in Scotland, this one really pissed me off, because Rachel Reeves was in Scotland and she was on the news, BBC and STV, and she told a bare-faced lie. I'm going to run the video and then we'll go through why it was a bare-faced lie. Okay.
Well, the SNP government.
A guy adopted a funny-looking kitten. At first,
Well, the SNP government is as guilty as the Conservative government of spending more than they were bringing in. And now the Scottish government are having to make difficult decisions. Anna Sarwar and the Labour opposition in Scotland were warning the SNP about the unsustainable situation they were in. The SNP refused to listen. They made decisions.
Right, I'm going to stop it there, David. Right. Because that bit about Anna Sarwar warning it, we'll explain that when we get to it. Okay.
And also spending more than we needed. Scotland sends to the Treasury every year and gets back a small percentage to run itself.
It gets 60%. It gets about 60% back. It varies between 55 and 60% back. But that's not the point I was going to make here, David. Now, what Rachel Reeves said was that the Scottish government spent more money than it raised. That's impossible.
That's totally impossible. That's totally impossible.
And we're going to explain it to people why it's totally impossible, because of the 1998 Scotland Act, where it is a legal requirement that governments in Scotland of any hue whatsoever, have to balance the budget each year by law. So therefore, she could not have spent more money than was raised. And then, of course, we know that she didn't spend more money than what was raised in Scotland, because, as we know, the public sector alone in Scotland was worth 88.9 billion this year. Huh. That's not including the private sector. And as we already know, tax receipts are up, but we'll get to that when we get to what the Fiscal Commission had to say about this. Now, what she's doing is politicking, trying to convince people that all roads do not lead to Westminster.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember, Wes Streeton, when he was quizzed on why, when he became when he was Shadow Health Minister, he was quizzed on why the Welsh NHS was doing so badly. And he said, all roads lead to Westminster. But apparently that doesn't apply in Scotland.
All right.
But as I say, what they're doing is politicking. They're trying to convince the Scottish people that the SNP have mismanaged the Scottish finances.
Right. So therefore, the campaign for the Scottish election 2026. Thank you, Alistair. We need to balance the book, of course. That's number one rule. Those books have got to be balanced each year.
Now,
we cannot have a situation whereby Scotland takes more than it gets, than it gives. Simple as that.
But more importantly, let's get to the bit where she talked about Scottish Labour warning about the Scottish Government overstretching. By the way, remember, this is the narrative that we have a something for nothing society, rather than the narrative where we have good social policy for the health and well-being of our people. No. This is the idea that the Scottish Government has mismanaged the finances. Well, that's not true, because that brings us on to the Scottish Fiscal Commission and the claim that Scottish ministers contributed to the state of the finances by the choices they made. Well, actually, that's not true either when you read the Scottish Fiscal Commission.
Yeah, I think, as you said, this broadcast came out of the BBC.
Aye. No,
We've seen the BBC, well, definitely the BBC. We've seen broadcasts come out of the BBC where it's been an absolute lie.
That's another thing. The BBC, when she said this in the BBC knew it was alive.
Yeah.
Hi, Kevin. Nice to see you there, mate. Hey, now, the BBC knew this was a lie, David.
Yeah.
The 1998 Scotland Act. All Scottish local authorities and the Scottish Government must present balanced books. Simple as that.
The point is that they get away with it too many times. They get away with it too many times without people taking to the streets and saying, this cannot be. So therefore, Rachel Reeves can be tied up in that.
No. Hold on, David. We've got somebody here asking, can the 2026 be an independence plebiscite? No. No mandate. Something like that.
Well, at the moment, no mandate at the moment.
Well, you could say they've the mandate for 2021, the last Scottish Parliament election.
Yeah.
But anyway, where were we? Aye, now the bit where Rachel Reeves said Anna Sarwar and the Labour Party had been warning about these social policies overstretching. Well, actually, we'll get to the Fiscal Commission in a minute. That's not what's overstretched the Scottish budget. We'll get to that. But now, I want to tell you something. That is the second direct lie that woman told, David. Because as we know, every act that passed through that Parliament to bring all these social policies into place had to be voted through that Parliament. And the baby box, the free travel for kids, the uplift, the free school meals, they were all majority approved with the help of Labour.
Yeah.
So the idea that Sarwar and the Tories, well, the Tories had been complaining about the social policies, but the idea that Labour here in Scotland had been warning against these social policies going to overstretch the Scottish budget, that's not true. Now, let's get to the next bit, which...
Sarwar was too busy ambulance chasing.
That's true.
You know, simple as that. You know, every week you saw him on First Minister's Questions. His first question was always about ambulance chasing.
Now, David and I discussed this one, Terry, about the SNP no saying anything about the lie for Rachel Reeves. Well, actually, they didn't get the right to reply in this particular case. And David and I have seen that often enough as well, where something will be said and the SNP won't have the right to reply.
Yeah, but there are times that I've seen where they were in a situation where they had the right to reply and they didn't. And that is the thing that really gets my nit. And I tell you what, but it pulls my nit, no problem, is the fact that they're not responding to this stuff.
And I see Karen's there. Hello, Karen. I'm looking forward to seeing where it is you're sending me in the post. That's bloody interesting. I mean, I'm going to order the T-shirts for David and I right after the programme. Right, now, next up, of course, they're trying the Fiscal Commission, and they are saying that the Scottish Government Minister's choices have impacted on the chaos we're seeing in the Scottish fiscal position. On if young Reagan Elite's there, Reagan Elite, the word you've been looking for is fiscal.
Yeah.
No physical, fiscal. Apart from that, your show's brilliant, but you keep mixing physical and fiscal.
May I add another word? And I want you to talk about it. Ofcom.
Aye, I will get to that, David. But I want to finish a bit about Fiscal Commission. We'll go back to the BBC. Okay. Now, when you read the Fiscal Commission's the actual report, What it says is, the 5-year budgeting plan that the Scottish Government has, as most governments have, they plan over 5 years. It's the term of the Parliament. There was only one error in the budgeting for the Scottish Government, and that was that they only budgeted 3% per year over 5 years for public sector pay rises. So basically, they factored into the public budget 15% worth of pay rises over 5 years, right, for each of the sectors in the public sector. But over the last 2 years, the public sector have 10% pay rises. And in the first year of this Parliament, they get a 3% pay rise, taking it to 13%. We've got 2 years of the Parliament left, with only 2% of wriggle room in the budget. So that's where the mistake is. They miscalculated. Now, they're trying to say it was Scottish Government's choice. No, it wasn't. They planned a 5-year programme at 3% per year. That was viable at the time the plan was made. Then we had the pandemic.
If you think about it, it was a budget. It was a prediction as to what would be needed, right? Any government making such a prediction would go, well, that's fine.
But even though we just come out we were coming at the tail end of the pandemic, the projection going forward was that inflation rate would be around about 2-3%. So that's public pay settlements would be.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen the fucking bomb scale that was plus trust coming down the line. So if you want to talk about mistakes in fucking budgeting, it wasn't a mistake of the Scottish Government's budgeting. As West Streeton said, all roads lead to fucking Westminster. And in this particular case, the reason why the fiscal conditions here in Scotland have deteriorated is because of Liz Truss and her fucking wacko mini budget. And then, of course, the resulting cuts to the Scottish Bloc grant. Because at the tail end of the Fiscal Commission's report, it tells us that because of your new progressive tax system, the tax take in Scotland is up. And that's because the higher, the mean average wage in Scotland is higher now than what it is in the rest of the UK, which means as people who are working are contributing more in tax receipts to the Scottish Government through income tax, right? So the real problem here in the Scottish finances comes from the chaos that was created in Westminster.
Yeah, David, all that understood, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the moment we do not have
Anybody to
an SNP government that is capable of taking that and turning it to our advantage, right?
Well, at the moment, it would appear they're not in campaign mode when fucking Labour are.
Right. Now, effectively, the best idea is we quickly change leader of the SNP.
Well, David, that'll need to be dealt with at conference.
Simple as that.
But now to get back to
when is conference?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
Dead right. You're coming to have a look. They don't want to have a conference at the moment.
I know there is a date for it. As I've said to you, now I've been speaking about it. If I can't get a delegates pass this time, wouldn't give me a delegates pass last time. If I can't get a delegates pass this time, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Right, but now let's get back to Rachel Reeves and her fucking lies. And the lie that Anna Sarwar and the Labour Party here in Scotland warned against all these social policies because they didn't. They voted them through the Scottish Parliament because that's how it works.
Yeah.
The Act goes in front of the Parliament. The Act's passed. It becomes law that we feed kids in school.
Yeah.
It becomes law that we issue our baby books. Yeah. It becomes law that we issue our bus tickets at 60 instead of 66. Becomes law that 12 to 22 3-year-olds get free travel. That sort of thing. And it was all voted through with the Labour Party giving it majority support. But now, folks, on this carry on with the BBC and the mainstream broadcasters, this has to be addressed. And the best way to address this, David, Ofcom.
Yeah.
The BBC knew what she was saying was untrue, and Rachel Reeves knew what she was saying was untrue.
Okay, so let's have a look at what actually happens on that, right? If we get enough people writing to Ofcom, then Ofcom will respond to that situation. Don't worry, they will, right? And it'll end up being a on BBC, it'll be a retraction of what was said, right?
Aye.
The people that will see that, I'll only see it if they watch BBC at a particular time.
Oh, but
Right.
generally they'll put it out as a wee bit of that on their
Yeah,
website.
right. So just remember that Ofcom, they will take issue with that, but it's going to be a small effect. The only effect that could possibly come out of it, which is real, is if all us get together and we put up a retraction that comes from BBC. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Nathan. Poverty pay Sarwar's biggest lie was that there would be no austerity under Labour. Woof, what a fucking lie that was.
Yeah.
But as I say, Rachel Reeves knows that she was telling lies because she knows about the 1998 Scotland Act. And she also knows how our parliament works. So she knows that Labour will have voted through all these social policies along with the SNP and the Greens.
Yeah.
So she lied to the Scottish public on two fronts. Now, I don't know whether, I don't know who's giving her legal advice, David, but you and I know that ministers get legal advice before they make television appearances and things like that.
Yeah, they're covered within the four walls of Westminster. They can, providing they don't caught out in a lie, generally they're okay. Because nobody can.
There's not a lot we can do about the English newspapers printing that shit.
Yeah.
You're not seeing a lot of it in the headlines here, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because I know that the BBC dropped a fucking story like a brick. Because every mainstream monitor in Scotland jumped on that interview. Everyone.
Also, Stephen, just think about it. Think about the amount of lies that's been printed over the last however many years, right? I mean, I could take you back to 2014. The amount of lies that was printed in main newspapers. Unbelievable. But you couldn't take them to task. You could not take them to task. The only opportunity that we have in this situation is a campaign that gets everybody in Scotland up off their fucking arses and starts to make Labour realise there's going to be a real challenge for them in Scotland come 2026. Simple as that.
Going forward, actually, the people of Scotland know they've been fucking done out now.
Yeah. Yes.
And lied to by Sarwar. And if I see him in the street, David, you don't like him, I'll fucking rip it. I'll tear him. I will verbally tear him a new one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Dishonest little rat. But Reeves knows what she was doing, and this is politicking.
Yeah.
They're already campaigning for the 2026 election. But folks, Ofcom website complaining about this. The BBC knew that she was lying.
Yeah.
And she knew she was lying. Now, I don't know what the situation is with misuse of position in public office, but that must be skirting near the fucking edge of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That must be skirting near the edge of it, David. But, as I say, this has to be called out. It's time for the Scottish people and the Scottish government to stop being so bloody meek on this. I was listening to John Drummond's TNT show last night, and he's of the same attitude as us. The only way you're going to get anything done with Westminster is to take a firm grip with them. Mikey! With your daughter just to be...
It's the first day of her college today, by the way, so we'll see how it goes. She's a social scientist.
Oh, social scientist. Me and all. Right, let's move on. UK government not to contest a judicial review into the licences that were issued for the Jackdaw gas field and the Rosebank oil field.
Yeah.
Barbara, wow. Oh, Barbara, that's jolly generous of you, Barbara.
Wow, yes.
Oh, that is. No, but thank you very much. Thank you. Super sticker. Oof.
I still can't get out of my head every time she comes on and does something like that. Is this blooming last typing away? And
Mother's Anyway, let's talk about what happened here, David. It's quite important, but it's no the victory that Greenpeace and Uplift think it is, the two environmental groups that took the UK government to the Supreme Court for issuing these licences in the first place.
Yeah.
The reason why the licences were halted at this point in time, if you like, is because there was no environmental impact assessment done, and there was no emissions assessment done. So the Supreme Court has ruled that there should have been impact assessments done before these licences were issued.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Greenpeace and Uplift are cock a hoot because that's a stop on their licences for now. But the UK government has not withdrawn these licences. No.
Yeah.
When the judicial review is finished, the judicial review will tell the owners of the Jackdaw and of, get this, David, this is Scotland's continental shelf, and these people own that and the oil.
I know that.
This is Westminster selling off what belongs to fucking us.
Yeah. Well, they're not selling off, they're licensing.
Licensing. Anyway, the owners of the Jackdaw and the Rosebank fields, Equity, Equinor, and I've got it down here. Rosebank is owned by Equinor and I can't read me in writing. Energy company, and Jackdaw is owned by Shell. Now, what's going to happen is this judicial review will tell them to go away and do their impact assessments on environment and on emissions, and then reapply for the licenses. The licenses will then be issued, and these fields will go ahead.
This thing about the license will then be issued.
Wow.
Right.
You see Davy Clocks are on the BBC. I wouldn't happen, but I really would. I'd colour him. I mean, because one thing he's not very bright, and I've debated much harder bodies than that man pot.
Right. This thing about the license being
license.
Right. If there's a proper impact assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this is Juno.
Hi, Juno.
It's the replacement for Pancake. Right. Then it means that should be turned down. If we want to have a climate assessment that says that we do not breach 1.5 degrees, then that has to be shut down properly. Has to be.
After the decision for the Supreme Court and the UK government saying they're not going to contest a judicial review, this is what energy experts in London are telling the BBC, that this is only a temporary win.
Yeah, I think that's a joke we both thought was quite funny about the energy experts in London.
He did hash with stumbles. He did well last night, John, because as you say, his invited guest, her internet dropped off and left him in the middle of his show, or beginning of his show. So John did all right. Now, so Greenpeace and Uplift are celebrating this. They think that's an end to it, but no. Energy analysts and energy experts in London are telling us, no, once the judicial review's been done, these companies, Shell and Equinor Energy, or whatever they're called, they will then do the impact assessments, submit them with new licensing requests to the UK government, and they will be issued. So these two sites will come online.
Yeah.
You know, they will come online. But got to get to Greenpeace and for Uplift for trying.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Let's hope they don't stop trying.
Couple of other stories we're going to run through here in Scotland because these were big headlines. Okay. Apparently Healthcare Improvement Scotland to carry out inspections of maternity services in Scotland following recent slight rises in infant mortality. Now, David, I've got a theory on this one, and that is that probably the parents just aren't as fit and had the nutrition in order to bring these babies all the way through. Because as we know, people are piss poor at the moment, David.
I know you can't. The problem is you can't actually see that without having solid.
I've only got the evidence, but see, my main niece, she wasn't eating properly either because she's on own benefits. And if, you know, they're eating poorer quality food and things like that, David. Let's not kid ourselves on.
All right, okay. So what you're saying is that effectively is causing the increase in mortality.
I think so, because when you go get £93 a week to live off it, and you're pregnant, and you're buying poor quality food, you don't have any choice, David, but to buy that poor quality food. And I think that might have a bit of an impact on this eye. But studies will find that out as time goes on, David, because we know that happened in the 80s during the Thatcher carry on. Infant mortality shot up then as well. So to make sure it's nothing to do with the healthcare service, Health Improvement Scotland will be carrying out inspections in maternity services. That will start in January. First report will be issued in April of next year.
The difference is between Scotland and England is that in Scotland, I believe it will be done properly. The figures you will be able to take to the bank and they'll be able to tell you exactly the reason why and all the rest of it, right? Whereas any such thing in England would never come to pass because they never have decent reporting.
Aye, medical records wise here. Now, another interesting story this week is that Murdo the Fudd is begging the other contenders in the Tory party race to drop out. Now, the other contenders are Russell Finlay and Megan Gallagher. Now, the reason why he's asked them to drop out, because he hasn't got a snowball chance in hell of winning.
I hope Murdo wins. I really, really, really hope Murdo wins.
He's never won an election yet, David, so I don't see it. Just don't see it. But anyway, Murdo the Fudd's asking the other two to drop out and give him a queen run at it. Best of luck to him, innit? I'd love to see Murdo the Fudd at First Minister's. He would get a roasting off Swinney every week. So he would. Right, else we go. Talking of public sector, right? What do you might call it? College lecturers have been on strike since 2022. We are on pie. Now, the College Lecturers Union, the EIS and FELA, have now told lecturers this is the best you're going to get offered, except the 4.4%. But once again, this is what's causing the problem with Scottish Government's finances, because they had only budgeted over 5 years for public sector workers to get 3%.
Yeah.
Well, yes, one up. Thanks very much for the super sticker.
Thanks very much, Hugh.
There, character sliding on the floor, on his knees, saying "Go." Thank you. So, here are basically the big stories here in Scotland. That's them all. Now we get to go down south. And we get to introduce another liar to the people of Scotland. And that liar is Keir Starmer. Because Keir Starmer gave a speech telling the public hard choices were going to have to be made. And then with all the economists look at it, including Professor Murphy and all them, and echo exactly what I've said, and what everybody else has said, Starmer's not making any choice at all. This is continuity.
Yeah.
This is carry on from where Hunt and Sunak left off. Just a wee bit.
He has not actually done anything as a leader to say that anything can improve or whatever, right? All he's done is he's taken the book, as he's seen from previous Conservative administrations, and that's it. He's carried it forward. Simple as that.
That's exactly what he's done.
Yeah.
And all the economists are not telling us He's talking about tough choices. He isn't making any choices.
Yeah.
Tough choices would be to tax the rich. Would be to levy some money out of that 50 families that have 50% of the wealth in this fucking country.
And the problem is that these people would go tax the rich, and they would go immediately go, oh, you're going to take millions off them and all the rest of it, right? You don't actually have to tax them that much.
1% of
You
them.
just have to tax them a bit more.
Aye.
So, and that's it.
Talk about it in this programme. The OBR have told them if they introduce Scotland's progressive tax system, half this black hole they're talking about would disappear like that. It would raise 11.9 billion.
Well, let's talk about pensions just for a second, right? What they've done with the pensions or the pensioners over the winter period is ridiculous. Could be dealt with. Thank you very much, you. Could be dealt with very simply by an increase in tax. And what would happen is that the pensioners that have got the high tax earners, and there are a few, right? They would pay more tax. Simple as that.
Thanks for the super chat, but it's very difficult for David and I to run a project of buying toys and giving them out to children in struggling households because it's too much. What we will do is at Christmas we will specifically give whatever we've got to baby banks.
Yeah.
And if they want to provide toys for kids as well, that'll be up to them. But we will give the money to baby banks at Christmas.
Yeah.
There
are good charities where they can get toys anyway.
All right. Also doing that road, David, I don't know if you'll be aware of this. So, Stammer's done nothing. Right? So no hard choices, continuity. Straight on for Sunak and Hunt left off. Now, if you want to see Professor Richard Murphy's take on it, you all know how to use search bar and use Restream. Type in Professor Murphy's name, Richard Murphy, and his YouTube channel will come up. And it's the latest blog on his YouTube channel.
You literally cannot miss it.
In fact, one of the mods wants to stick it in the comments. Maybe, yeah. So, by the way, Professor Murphy agrees with me, David, that this £22 billion black hole doesn't exist. It does not exist.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Also doing that, Angela Rayner has now announced her housing policy. Wow. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see that one. Sorry.
Oh, wow, it's a cracker. The idea is to hike the rents in the social housing sector to pay for more social housing to be built. The idea is to bring the rents in the social housing sector up to more or less the level of the private sector to allow councils to build more.
Is this
people that have no got any fucking money?
Is this anything to do with mine Obergroup and Reeves again? Is it? No.
Probably, right. But as I say, listen, this is a mad idea. They're going to increase the rent to the people who have the least, the people in the social housing sector.
Yeah.
They're going to increase the rent of those who have the least to pay for building more affordable houses. That's not going to work.
We know it's not going to work.
And the other thing that's going to happen is landlords lift the prices of the rents at being councils and housing associations, then guess what? The housing benefit bill will go up. This is economic fucking madness. At this point in time, people on low wages might only get maybe a quarter of the rent paid and they have to pay the rest.
Yeah.
At this point, if these rents go up, then they'll only be able to afford to pay half the rent. So the housing benefit budget will need to cover the rest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're all going to end up in a bloody state.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mad Monk. He's just put Richard Murphy's video up in the comments, folks. Have you ever heard anything so fucking nuts? And then, of course, the affordable housing that's to be built. There's no explanation of where the councils get this land from. And the money they get in for hiking and obviously housing associations, but the money they rake in for Dublin basically doubling the rent or repeat their tenants to build new houses. Hey, they're going to all that money. It'll only just be about enough to buy a plot to build some fucking things on. And they won't have any money to build.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense, but the idea that you batter down on the poorest. So let's have a look at what they've achieved since they come in this lot. All right. We have got freeze granny, starve the kiddies, and now we've got to make people fucking homeless. Talk about economic illiteracy, David.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here in Scotland, we'll be ploughing our own money into raising the welfare of the people and the health of the people, whereas doing that road, they are battering the people in order to protect that 1%.
And because we are tied to Westminster, and because they are behaving in such a way, they're pulling us under. That's what they're doing, guys.
Apparently, this is one for the diary. Rally at Holyrood, 18 September, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Right, thanks, mate. Oh, come on, get down. What's this one? Great, you're back, David. That wasn't what I meant today, but right, they're doing now. So let's have a look. So far, 10 million pensioners have been hit.
Yep.
So far.
And hit badly. Let's face it, and hit badly.
Yep. And so far, the decision not to end the two-child cap means that 250,000, 300,000 more children will be in poverty by the end of this year.
Yeah.
By Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Or by the end of the financial year in April. And going forward, there'll be another 300,000 each year.
Yeah.
As long as this cap's in place. So we've got freeze granny, starved kids, and now we're on to punching down on the poorest again by rent increases that are supposed to allow social housing providers the money to build more social housing.
Can we quickly go back over the rally that's take place outside Holyrood, right?
Aye,
may I suggest that rather than being pushed over onto where the grass is, that you rally round about the main doors of Holyrood.
There's a buffer zone.
Because that's a way of putting you out the way.
David, there's a buffer zone.
Yeah.
There's a legal buffer zone. There's an area where you can't protest, an area where you can't.
All right, okay, all right. To stay where you can, right? But I don't know, if people get pushed into an area where they can.
Talk a wee bit more on the subject of what Labour's achieved over the 7 weeks have been in. In that 7 weeks as well, of course, we've had two scandals that the people of Scotland haven't been told about in our press. And unless you were watching media down south, you wouldn't know about it. And that is that Angela Rayner has been caught up in a cronyism scandal, and Keir Starmer has been caught up in a cash for access scandal. One, Peer, who donated £500,000 to the Labour Party, was given a pass to number 10, so cash for access. And with Rayner, in this case, it's a guy that's in the Treasury. He was initially given a paid job. Now, this is a guy that donated personally 50,000. I think it was to Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves and Starmer, the top two, Prime Minister and Chancellor, caught up in cash for access and cronyism scandals within 7 weeks.
We see today in the National where they're writing about the Labour being yet again funded, but individuals within Labour funded by the Israeli government.
Aye. But as I say, people here in Scotland won't know about these scandals. But if you use your search engine and just type in Starmer cash for access, or type in Reeves cronyism, you'll get the stories up. All right. And it's got to do with access and jobs for the boys.
Yeah.
Rachel Reeves hires a clown who donated to her personal campaigns, and Starmer gives access to number 10 to a lord who'd given over £500,000 to the Labour Party. Fucking outrageous. Okay.
How are we doing for
Yeah,
time?
of course the economy is going to collapse, Stephen. That's what happens. Rain, haze, yes. Everybody welcome. There may be other events throughout Scotland. Okay, hospitals, thanks.
It will
Right,
only collapse if we maintain our link with Westminster. And get that, guys. Get that one deep within your soul. We're being pulled under by the rest of the UK.
They chose-
Scotland can do fine on its own, but cannot do fine when it's held by Westminster and pulled under.
I'm sorry, David. People chose to stay with Westminster.
Yeah,
And
well, they're
they
going to have to change
reinforced
their
it.
mind.
And they
They're going to
reinforced
change
it
their
in that
mind.
election.
But
They
they're going to have
reinforced it
to
in
change.
that last election.
They're going to have to change their minds. Simple as
Well,
that.
Listen, it's very difficult to convince people when you don't have access to media, when it's just you and me.
Right. Well,
No.
but it isn't just you and me. It's you and me and all of them.
Aye. But Rachel Reeves, here's a rocket. Also, Starmer this week was off in the jollies to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And the right-wing press are calling it his apologetic tour. Apology tour. So apparently he's on the book Europe saying we're awfully sorry for what happened with Brexit. We're awfully sorry what happened with Brexit. He's also signed a new strategic defence and security treaty with Germany.
Yeah.
That was jolly good deal. That was jolly good deal. When was Parliament to be consulted about this fucking treaty?
Never.
Since when did Parliament stop being given a say in who we enter into agreements with? When did they decide to take that power into their own hands? Who did it? Well, we know who did it. Theresa May with the Henry VIII powers. So they can make executive decisions without having to ask the Parliament permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's become Prime Minister, has become President almost.
Yeah.
Aye, any socialist left in the Labour Party in Scotland needs to give himself a shake. Right, so he's off out there, as I say, on his jollies. The right-wing press are going after nut. So when he gets back, he has to reinforce his line that the UK will not be going back into Europe. That Brexit means Brexit. Well, guess what, Starmer? You're absolutely right, because they don't fucking want you back. Even if you were to go and make noises to Europe right now saying that you wanted to start renegotiating the join, you may be told to fuck off until there's stability in the UK.
Even if
democracy in the UK.
Even if he got together another Brexit vote, yeah, or
Yep.
another European vote, right?
Yep.
From everybody in the UK,
Yep.
EU would go, so what?
Just to fuck off.
Because effectively they wouldn't know how long it would be until there would be an administration in power in the UK that would say we want out. Simple as that.
Like a Labour-Tory coalition in 2026, that's possible. Let's face it, they're just one party now anyway.
Yeah.
There is no difference between the cheeks of the arse now.
Yeah.
None. So, what do I call it? So where were we? Aye, so he's been off in the EU, as I say, he goes back, he has to tell the right-wing loonies in the press here, and the right-wing loonies that are dragging their knuckles around the ground shouting, immigrants are bad, immigrants are bad. You know, they ones. You know, the right-wing vote that he actually courted during the election doing that vote. You know, he's had to come back and assure all of them that the UK is not going back into the EU. Folks, we newsflash, they don't fucking want them back.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that's interesting. In order to get back in, you've got to meet the criteria. And guess what? Westminster doesn't meet the democratic criteria.
Correct. Scotland still does.
Yes, because we have a proportional system.
Yeah. That's right.
Yep. But the UK, even if it tried to apply right now, would be told, no, you are not a democracy, one that we recognise. Hi, Anne, how's it going? I see you and David are where you are. And
Aye.
at the moment.
Hey, you're flying all over the world.
Aye.
or shipping it all around the world, anyway.
Anyway, thanks, Anne. Thank you,
Thanks, Anne.
David. You do an awful lot of work for food for charities as well, and we know that. You and the MD2 Cafe crew. You know. Right. So, as I say, Starmer's been after in the EU. He is looking for close alignment with the EU, David. There's no point kidding on about it. It will help, but not a lot.
But he's trying to do it through the defence programme. He's trying to do it through militaristic might. And that only goes so far.
Well, I'll tell you what.
If Europe,
militaristic might, I don't know who's getting that for, because Westwood's going to be his penis in the world when it comes to armies.
Yeah, well, if Europe ends up getting attacked by Russia, right, then obviously there would be some form of power there, yeah. But at the moment, it's soft power.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, by the way. It's interesting you say that because the Americans are moving nuclear weapons back into Germany.
Yeah.
After they moved them out.
Yeah.
There you go. There's another bit of information you might know, folks. In Europe, the Americans are starting to put hardware back on the ground in Germany. Right.
Get a map out, guys.
That's one another cracker, David. We've seen the Scottish government do this, so Labour's following suit down that road. I mean, but the Scottish government did it as part of the social policies, you know, the banning the smoking and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, what Starmer's talking about, he's talking about going one step further. He's talking about banning smoking in outdoor spaces. How does that work? Now, which outdoor spaces is he talking about? He's talking about beer gardens and pubs, street restaurants, sports centres, and hospitals. Outside hospitals.
Well, you saw him on YouTube recently. You saw where Starmer was banned from going into a particular pub.
Aye.
The pub landlord was saying to him, "I don't want you in here."
Aye.
And in England, they have the right of trespass. You can actually take one individual or a group of individual and say, "I don't want you."
And you're in your bed with flu. You just get back on Tuesday. Okay. She's sending you a hug, David, saying you're hoping you're feeling better. Right, we better speed this.
Yes, I'm feeling better.
Aye, so Starmer's got nothing better to do because he isn't making any hard choices. He's taking easy choices. He's continuing to wear Hunt and Sunak left off. So it's mere populist push. How do you police it? I mean, we already have all these things banned here in Scotland.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can go so far in banning stuff, and then it becomes against. I mean, just for a second, let's figure about alcohol use. Back in America in 1920s, what they did was they banned it.
Aye.
So what happened was it forced it underground.
Aye.
That brought forth the time of the gangster. We still have gangsters now, but not quite as open as they were back in the 1920s, right?
You're right, Henry. It's just a dead cat in the Harry. It's just a dead cat in the table.
And then eventually, America saw fit.
Right, let's move on to the wider world, David.
Let's
move on to the wider world. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Ukraine's getting their ass kicked in the area of Russia, the Kush.
Yeah.
That was bound to happen. You know, and what's basically happened is they put their reserves in there to take that back to Russia. Now the reserves are fucking deep. They were short of manpower to begin with. Plucky, but they're short of, even short of manpower now. Hey, also, it looks like Israel's turning its attention to clearing the West Bank now.
Yeah.
You know, the UN's ordered them to get out of the West Bank, to cease operation in the West Bank, but no. More and more settlements are popping up in the West Bank, and the people of the West Bank are being forced out, and a lot of this has been funded by the UK and America.
Yeah.
And a lot of your pensions pots, folks.
Horrible. Horrid.
Absolutely horrid. And last but not least, the polls are swinging in favour of Harris in America. The swing states are starting to swing to Harris in America as well. So it looks like Trump is out the window. Still close though, David. 51 to 49 in popular polling. You know.
Take your choice. It's a Conservative Parliament with an idiot in charge, or a Conservative Parliament with somebody that looks nice in charge.
Yeah,
That's basically what it comes to. That's America for you.
aye. But that's the same as here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get one short-arsed, insufficient a sod as Prime Minister, and now we've got a cardboard fucking cutout. I mean, how?
May I remind you, the SNP have a cardboard cutout for a blooming leader at the moment.
That's your opinion, David. Not everybody sees it that way.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Swinney. I do not believe that you are the right person to hold that position at the moment.
No, I don't think any of them in the last wee while have been there, apart from who had a more aggressive stance toward Westminster.
That is the reason why
He had to go.
the push for independence has to come from the people. Whoops.
You okay?
Sorry, guys.
Did you fall? Did your computer fall?
My computer fell.
Jesus, thank Christ. I thought you fell out that bloody chair. Hurry up and get your computer up. We'll say cheerio. I've got work to go to. So, and apparently Trump's fitness is also in his cognitive ability, and his mental abilities are now being called into question as well. And you say, hurry up. Stephen doesn't want to miss the Champions League draw.
Sorry, guys.
Funny that, Harry, because both UK political parties are also run by their corporate fucking backers. You're back.
I'm back.
May I suggest?
And it wasn't me that fell. It wasn't me that fell. It was a computer.
May I suggest a computer table?
What you are watching at the moment is you are watching from Zimmer Vision. The computer is balanced on a cushion that is sat on top of a Zimmer frame. Look at that.
And Mark Telfer fancies a Humza Yusuf and Flynn tag team. So did that. That's why they had to get rid of him.
Well, Stephen Flynn, if he actually went after that position, I'll tell you what, I would back him wholeheartedly, because I believe that he's the only one that has the heart within the SNP to actually take it forward. We need somebody with teeth in charge of the SNP in order to get us forward to independence. Something like that. Simple as that.
Yeah. Right, folks. I'm going to wind that up. That's our hour coming to an end. We want to thank you all for your generosity today.
Yep.
As I say, we've already got a 250 of this month's allocation out. I'll be working over the next 2 days to find another couple of independent food banks in the Inverclyde area to give more money out to. And then we're going to hop across the water to Western Barton, which will be the next area we hit.
Oh, scary place.
That's your place, aye. That's where all the bomb pots are. That's where all the one-legged hitmen are. Right, I'm going to wind it up. You managed to make it all the way through the day again, David. And you phoned me hell of a late. I'd already written that as a one-man show.
I know.
That's naughty, boy. Naughty. But I think we get through it all right, David. I think we get through it all right. Because it wasn't right for the 2 years.
The good thing is the fact that you have written such a show means that I can then take it and put my political slant on it.
Yes, I. Right, as I say, but
Which-
David, are you coming on Monday?
Yes,
Because you've got to remember my writing style is different when the 2 years are coming on.
yeah, fine, I'll be there.
Right. So,
From now on, you've got me,
oh,
right?
you coming back now?
Yes.
Oh, good, because it'll be good for your
No, no,
speech
hold on,
therapy.
hold on. That's if you want me.
Of course, I want you to come back. It's
What?
always easier when there's 2 years. You
Right.
imagine me having to do a monologue for an hour.
What I've got to work on is I've got to work on this stroke effect on one side of my face.
Can I see it, David?
Right.
It's
Okay,
not something we can see on camera.
fine. You
Right.
got, I know you can hear it. I know you can hear it, but at the same time, it's like I'm working hard to try and get it. I'm trying to do my AEIOU, all that nonsense to build my speech
Get
up
the
again.
vocabulary
Right.
back. Yes. Okay. So, thanks for the super chats, folks, and your donations today. Absolutely generous of you. Thanks very much for the moderators for moderating the stream. And Mad Monk 33, after the show, can you put the link for Discord and the after shows chat, which will take place between 10 and 11 o'clock tonight, or between 10 and whenever we stop talking tonight, in the Discord server. Okay, if you want to join that conversation between 10 and whenever we finish, you will find that Mad Monk 33 will drop the link and the invite to Discord server in the comments after the show has finished. Okay, so I think that covers everything. That just leaves one thing left to do, David.
Hi, Amy. Hi, guys.
Hi, David. Bye, folks.